Welcome to the podcast.
What podcast is this?
This is MindMesh.
Welcome to the MindMesh podcast, everybody. My name's Chayton,
I'm Fish,
and we have special guest on the line from the far outreaches of space. He's not in the same location as Eli, but he is in an undisclosed
Eli's
location.
on Uranus, he's on Mars.
Yeah, it's kind of that situation. But everyone, welcome Tyson to the podcast studio audience. Yeah!
Yeah! Ladies, please.
Ladies and babies.
He's acting like he's a WWE superstar over here. Like he's coming out with his theme song and everything, just fireworks going off.
Everyone hold up signs.
So
Like, Tyson, have my babies.
I'll be your sperm donor, please. Wait, that doesn't work.
I guess it's time to play our game
Uh-huh.
with describing our guest.
Dude, we've only done that once because every other time we've had a guest, you refuse to play the game.
Oh, well, we won't describe how Tyson looks.
Yeah, Tyson's just an enigma. He's just like
Tyson
Eli.
he's a
Tyson
voice
looks like, coming through a phone.
Tyson looks like Sasuke Uchiha.
That's not true.
Yeah, from the hit show The Walking Dead.
Tyson looks like Christian Bale from The Machinist.
Yeah, that's about right.
That's about it. No, he looks like Walking Phoenix from the Joker. That's what Tyson looks like.
Yeah, it's just
I
about.
look like one of the three people the Walking Phoenix killed in the Joker.
You get to pick which one.
Yeah, you get to guess from there.
So, last episode of the podcast, we came in with absolutely nothing to talk about, and we got super deep, super serious, and super sad. So we're never gonna do that again.
Maybe.
Maybe. Fingers
Maybe.
crossed.
Maybe.
But there's always that slim 1% chance that we'll just come in and we'll do a really depressing podcast.
Or we'll just shoot the shit again. But hopefully it won't be as depressing. But we got some topics today.
Yeah, we do have some topics. So I was thinking about this recently, because of course there's a big market for body modifications.
Yeah.
But like when I say there's a popular market, I'm talking about like.
Are you talking about the extreme body modifications?
Well, no,
or-
that's all I was about to say. I was like, there's the ones that like everyone deems as like almost, well, not all of them as normalcy now. Like a lot of people deal like with ear piercings,
nose piercings,
lip piercings, and like belly button piercings,
eyebrow
as
piercings.
eyebrow piercings. Like those have a sense of normalcy.
Yeah.
I would agree.
But like eyebrow piercings and nose piercings and lip piercings and belly button piercings almost had the same like odd denomination as like tattoos do. Like there's normalcy to it,
But it's
there's
still like a taboo to
yeah,
it.
there's still like an
extremes.
older generation and in the job market where there's like it's a taboo to do it. Like my girlfriend's in the nursing field and she has tattoos and she has to wear long sleeve shirts to work because the hospitals have policies against having tattoos that are shown while she's on shift.
like visible tattoos.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where like even though our generation views those as like normalcies, for older generations and for the job market, it's still one of those like taboo, like you probably shouldn't do those type of situations.
But then there's like this
But
other
yeah, but then there's the extreme situation where you have the people that are putting like metal rings under their skin to like raise their skin up and give them like horns and
that's
like
what I
like little
Some
like
bulges.
yeah, some little bulges. You got the people that do the like the snake tongue stuff.
have you seen like the have you seen the people that will do, and you can do this anywhere in your body. I've seen it done with like what you said, horns. They'll take implants and they're just like these
Oh,
almost
God.
like screw ports.
Yeah.
So like they just put them in their head and they can screw like
Yeah,
spikes
yeah,
or different
no,
things
yeah.
onto them.
Yeah, no, and then there's the
Or
people
door
with the
stoppers in their forehead.
there's
Have you seen the people that like it's almost 99% girls that do this, but they'll get back piercings all down their back.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then, and
yeah.
then they'll lace it up like it's a
Yeah.
fucking garter or whatever.
Yeah, I've seen those. And the one that's probably the most like prominent in my head is like, and it comes from like Ripley's Believe It or Not books, the Lizard Man.
Oh
with
yeah,
the,
the
like
dude.
the snake tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That like
deal.
the fully tattooed face.
Yeah, and the
with
fully
scalp.
tattooed face. So there's like there's that extreme side of body mods, which I mean, if that's their thing, go for it.
Yeah,
I mean
not-
it's kind of the same situation in my mind as like Botox and like plastic surgery. Like
I mean,
they're
it's-
modifying their body to fit their ideals more.
And With that said, I didn't even think about like plastic surgery and stuff would
As a body mod, yeah.
into
'Cause-
this conversation. I was thinking like piercings and stuff like that.
Yeah, no.
But going back to Ripley's Believe It or Not, though, do you remember the dude that was like tried to be like a tiger?
No.
He did this weird lip surgery, so his
Oh,
lips.
he had like the weird cleft lip type deal.
Yeah, where it came up like a cat did.
Oh, it looked like a cat nose.
Yeah, and he had like implants for like whiskers and stuff.
Oh God.
Yeah, no.
That's what. Well, that kind of reminds me of the people that did like plastic surgery to look like Barbie and Ken.
Or
those were those
Oh
big
my
stories
God.
back in the day.
I remember years ago around Michael Jackson's death, there was this documentary about this dude that like tried to do like all the plastic surgery he could to look like Michael Jackson.
Well, there was this is just reminding me of that movie, Tusk. I don't know
Oh,
if
yeah,
either of you
I
have
know.
seen it, but
I
literally,
haven't seen it, but
it's-
I know what it's
yeah,
about.
it's Human Centipede esque, where a man like goes and tries to like he's like a radio host, and he tries to interview this guy who like drugs him, knocks him out, and
And
then he does a bunch of
slowly-
surgery to transform this man into a walrus
Yeah.
because he believes that a walrus is the ultimate life form. But no, but where I was going with this and where my like shower thought was like heading towards is I started like thinking about animals.
Oh, and like modifications.
No, I was thinking about like what if humans had similar traits of animals? So like say if humans like on their feet they had hooves like cows and horses. So
yeah.
So I'm gonna reach a point where I'm gonna like kind of make sense. But,
Are you really though?
We're waiting for that one.
But so of course with like horses and stuff like that, of course you have to and cows, you have to like trim their hooves and like put horseshoes and stuff like that on there to like protect their feet and stuff like that, which would be similar to like a manicure or a pedicure for a human. So my question comes in like when it comes to like goats and stuff like that, you know how a lot of farmers will like shave down the horns of said goats and stuff like that to make sure that they don't like get overgrown. Like those Ripley, believe it or not, it's the people who grow out their like fingernails and they just curl and curl and curl onto themselves. So I was thinking like, what if humans had like animalistic features like hooves or horns or things that animals are sold upon? Like with cows, how muscular they are and how much like fat and meat they have on them, like show pigs and stuff, like show animals in a sense.
Well,
So I was thinking like, what if humans had like goat horns? Would there reach a point where you could be socially accepted, similar to like piercings on your face, where there was a social standard for how long these horns are supposed to be, or like how cleanly, and I was just thinking about body mods, and I was like, well, what if humans had different features? Like, what would be socially acceptable with those features?
I mean, I guess it would just be kind of like what you said, like keep up with like if humans had like horns like rams or goats, just like making sure that they're not. I don't know. That's a weird question
well,
because
then
I also think about like when you brought up that question, I thought about like rats. Like
Yeah.
you know, like rats' teeth never stop growing, so you have to
you have to-
trim their teeth.
Yeah, same with beavers. They have to like gnaw and stuff to actually wear their teeth down. Kangaroos too, and wombats.
I didn't
Any
know
I
marsupials.
that.
feel like with the horns. I feel like with horns, like it would be if people had horns, then the guys would have like real long horns, and people would see guys with real short horns and be like, "Whoa, look at that guy!"
Oh, okay.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Short.
Like, it's like, so
His
what
horns are real
would
short.
become socially acceptable? Like, would you go out and find those features and like breed those features as like, oh, if we mix this person together, we might get longer horns, which would be more socially acceptable? Or would it be like a Hellboy situation where you literally have to like chop them off to the fucking root end to be like, oh, this is where we're going for. This is what
I think
it's socially acceptable to not have horns rather than having horns.
Okay, so like, I guess this question would bring up in this scenario: have humans always had horns, or is this like a new thing that's like, I guess, slowly evolving? Because
Well, I'm thinking it of the same way as like
body mods in a way.
like humans always had them. In my mind, the way I'm thinking about this is how like animal abuse happens in show dogs. So like with boxers, they're born with long tails, but they dock them They fucking cut them off to cause that little nub. Or with like or many dog breeds, they like clip their ears so that they point straight up, or they cut their ears so that they don't flop over. Like I'm thinking of that situation of like
Is there any reason? I've always wondered this. What's the reason for clipping off a dog's
cosmetics.
tail? Really?
It's literally cosmetics.
I never knew that.
Complete aesthetics.
I didn't know.
And that's where my whole like ideology behind this is that like a lot of the body modifications that people do, be it plastic surgery or tattoos or piercings, it's all for the aesthetics of the person.
Because then again, that goes with my question. Like, I think if it was like a newer thing, like if like we just started like randomly evolving to have this, I think people would trim their horns like Hellboy, like you were saying, because like it's not socially acceptable. It's not normal.
But it would be the opposite if we started with horns.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
And I was gonna say the same thing. Like if we had tails.
Oh yeah, like would it be socially acceptable to fucking dock them?
Yeah, exactly. Like I wonder about that. Like throughout times, if we had tails specifically, like would it? In some periods of time be more socially acceptable to have longer tails than shorter tails? Kind of like what was I gonna say?
I mean, it's just like
remember
the ages where like all of a sudden perms and big hair were a thing. Then like it's just like fashion trends in a sense. It's what's fashionable at the time.
In ancient times, people thought like small penises was the thing. Like with like David, like the David and stuff, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like they thought that was more socially acceptable.
You're just trying to like, you're trying to make a case for yourself right now.
Yeah,
Look,
you're trying to save face.
We didn't bring back the small penises.
Yeah, we didn't bring back ancient times. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Oh, you got a big man cock? Wow, you big barbarian. Look at you.
I think
But no, seriously though, but that's what I'm saying.
What?
Like
You're not even circumcised? We need to go back to ancient times.
Again, both of those things regarding like tails and stuff.
Yeah, no.
Like how it like would that affect over time? Because like again, like things like circumcision and like the size of things, like that becomes like different. Y'all got me fucked up now.
We got to talk about small penises over here. He ain't
But like the social standard of things have changed over time, so I wonder if that would be the same with like horns and tails and like shit like that.
You know, I'm just thinking like just talking about this. This actually this reminds me of a anime that I never watched. This is literally like one of those like weird compilation things that I found on YouTube. Just watching it. Have you guys ever heard of that prisoner anime where it's a bunch of guys in like an all-girls school and they're basically like prisoners in the school?
No, I have not heard of that.
Okay, so there's like this one there's this one scene where like the dean like gets them all in the same like room, and I think they got into trouble or something. I literally all the context I know is that there's literally this group of like 5 boys and they're in this entire school of like all females, but it's like a jail. So like they're prisoners in this jail. Yeah, anime. It's wild. But the dean sits them all down and is literally like, what do you prefer? Boobs or butts? And like they all are super nervous. They're all sweating. And then one guy stands forward and he said, I'm a butt man. And the dean goes, why? And he explains all this fucking evolution from where we started like crawling on the ground with like butts in people's faces. So everyone grew attracted to butts. Because we started on all fours in chimpanzees, and that was the attractive feature was the butts. But then as soon as we became bipedal, we weren't staring at butts anymore, and we were missing them. So the female race started to grow breasts. So that way we had a replacement for butts. And it was like this whole like weird evolutionary chain where like something that used to be
this dude just like explained from an evolutionary state why he was an ass man instead of a tit man.
and like I was just thinking about that, talking about like how things have evolved over time. And I was just like, wait a second, this is just bringing back memories of this one fucking YouTube compilation for like raunchy anime that I saw. God.
Dude using Darwinism to explain why he's horny.
Straight up. No, what was great though is that after that scene, literally like the dean just stood up like he was so angry, but then he just started crying and like shook the man's hand and he was like, I understand you completely. It was the weirdest thing.
Good point.
He was like, I knew I could trust you. Because like the Dean's the only other male character in the entire series. I think. I would assume. No, but
Man, anime.
dumb anime. I can't believe they would make a show like that.
I can't believe it.
No, but I like that was just a thought I had. Like,
What about you, Tyson? What are some weird body modifications that you think of when you think of like
yeah,
when you
what
think of this conversation that we're having?
yeah, what makes your ancient small pee-pee hard? Tell me about those body mods.
I think.
Do you
I
like
think
do you like web
body
toes?
mods have- Webbed toes? Okay, listen. That's
you
a
like
taboo topic.
You like them
Do you
go-
like frog toes?
You like them goose feet?
Anime has trained me to love frog feet. Okay. I will admit. When I think of body mods, though, I don't know why. I think back to like witch doctors with bones through their nose and stuff like. The
Oh
crazy
yeah,
stuff
I
they
forgot
had
that was
back
like a
in the-
thing. Or no,
They
it's
put the plates in their lips.
yeah, the plates in their lips and like the neck extenders and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, no ancient.
That's what I was about
or
to say.
like
The neck
cul-
extenders.
Yeah, cultural body mods or like ancient body mods.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they've
no,
been
that's a-
doing
that's a good
crazy
point.
Stuff for centuries, but I feel like back then it was more of like ceremonial things.
Yeah, it was more like
reasons for those
ritualistic.
things.
Ceremonial, like
rather
almost
now.
like a status of power.
Yeah, whereas now it's
Yeah.
like it's completely aesthetic fashion.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
It's just like
I'd
a
like to see more people with plates in their lips, though. I think that should come
With
back.
some fucking gauges in their lips.
oh yeah, gauges. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
you can count the
Do you remember that phase where people were getting giant gauges in
in
their ears?
Yeah, no, I for whatever
Yeah.
reason I'm like I've seen
want to know.
people-
I want to know what the ears look like now.
oh, it's probably bad.
Well, no, you don't.
I want to see those floppy little earlobes.
I feel like you could take a dart and throw it at the person's ears and it would just go straight through and it would never hit. But no, when
feel like
when
they
you're
could-
talking about gauges, I have this weird visualization in my mind, and I don't know if this was a thing or not. Did people put those in their lips? Or on their lip?
I saw a couple people that would get like these, almost like
I'm gonna look them up because I have a
It's almost
very
like
distinct.
half inch ones, like at the bottom of their lips, where you could see like their
Yeah,
bottom
yeah.
teeth and gums.
Under their bottom lip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people with like gauges in their bottom lips, and they'll put like a piercing down there, like where their soul patch would be.
Yeah,
on their chin.
well, but
That's
it's like a
definitely a
gauge,
mod.
and you can
Yeah, I'm
see
not
straight
gonna
in.
lie.
How do you drink stuff though with that?
I looked up lip gauge, and this is what popped up for me. It's like a Japanese like beauty thing that's like basically a ball gag, except reverse. I don't know how to. Yeah, that one's a weird
A
one.
reverse ball gag.
Yeah, it's just a giant. It literally keeps their mouth open. I don't know how else to describe it really. But no, I'm fine. Ooh, God, some of these pictures are disgusting.
Maybe you should
Like, look at that.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was
Oh,
thinking
this is what
of.
you're talking about.
That's
It's like
exactly
this weird
what I was
metal
talking
odor.
about.
But yeah, no, I'm sure drinking and eating's a bitch and a half.
Because it's gonna fall right through your fucking mouth.
It's like
Yeah.
whenever you drink and you spittle on yourself or whatever, and you're like, "Oh, sorry, I got a hole in my chin" or whatever. No, literally, they got a hole in their chin.
Imagine those people like dipping using chewing tobacco and they spit in
It
there and they
leaks
spit it
out.
out their little hole. Yeah, they don't let it spit, they just let it leak out.
Oh God, that would be terrible because you typically.
They have like a little, you know, the thing that you put on, that like some musicians put on for like a harmonica, where they like if they play guitar and play harmonica.
Oh yeah, it's one of
But
those.
it's just like a little reservoir. So
Yeah.
like little trough for all the dip juice to go.
Yeah. Oh God, trough for like spit and dip. Well, no, because Lily, that's how you like just pack your bottom lip. So I could only imagine that it would. Like,
Exactly.
just imagine you're out like on the town, like at a bar or whatever, talking to someone. They have one of those, and you just see like a giant stream of like black and brown saliva just drooling.
They just
out
have
of
a
this
little,
hole.
they have a little metal trough on their chin that
Yeah,
like
it's just
where all the
collecting.
spit goes.
And you're like, oh, sorry.
Someone bumps them and like the
It
spit
just all
gets on.
comes out. Or like, sorry, let me
That is foul.
let me empty out my tank real quick. They just like dump it in an ashtray.
Honestly though,
Just
I
dump it
would
in the
like to
toilet.
see a lot more like country folk, a lot more of the rednecks getting body mods.
A lot more
I can see
rednecks
that
getting
become
some
a
mouth
trend.
troughs over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they call them mouth troughs.
God no. Yeah, no, that's also a weird distinction. Is talking about like the
The cultural aspect of
Yeah,
it?
the cultural aspect of body mods.
Or
Because
not
when you think
cultural, but
Mhm.
like societal.
yeah, because you think about the South, and it's like there's not a whole lot of
The most you see are like the women with ear piercings.
yeah. It's not like there are those
Yeah.
outstanders
That's
Oh, yeah, of
casual.
course.
or outliers. Sorry, there are those outliers that have like tattoos covering their bodies or stuff like. But you never see the extreme cases around, at least where we live. But I would assume over on
Right.
like either of the coasts really that you would see a lot more of them.
I'm just thinking like my dad or your dad, Chayton.
Yeah.
With like some body mods.
Yeah, I'm thinking of them with their fucking the little screw ports on their
Oh,
on their
God.
With
foreheads.
some like horn implants.
Yeah, horn implants. Oh, that reminds me. There was a YouTube channel that I used to follow, and one of the guys literally had like one of those like forehead bumps,
Yeah.
and like for the longest time I was like, "What's wrong with his forehead?" And I was like, "Oh, it must be like a body mod or something." And then literally they
It's
didn't.
just a cyst.
Yeah, no, literally. They came out like with a video later, and they're like, everyone's been asking about what this is. I call it my unicorn horn. I was born with it, and it's literally just a weird like
Oh,
fucking
Oh,
like his skull was just deformed when he was born, so he has like this bone spur, like bone bump on his forehead, and it's just a little bump, and he calls it his unicorn horn. It's not like a cyst or a tumor or anything like that. That's actually like
It's
bad
just,
for
it's
his health.
just like the way his like
Yeah, his-
skull grew.
Yeah, his mom like
little
his
underdeveloped.
mom's fucking cervix wasn't like wide enough, so when she started pushing him out, it just like started coming out, and they're like, whoa, we need to wait, you're not wide enough, and because of that,
yeah,
he has
cone head.
yeah, he's got a little cone head, a permanent cone head,
But anyways, I think it's time for an ad break.
bro. Look, Fish, I need to know something. I need to know. Have you
What?
heard?
Yeah,
You have?
I
Are
maybe
you sure?
possibly. You can tell me though.
Have you heard of Anchor?
Like the thing that's on like boats.
No. Anchor. It's the easiest way to make a podcast. I'll let you explain. You said you knew about it.
Oh yeah. I remember now.
Okay.
It's free.
It's free?
Yeah, there's
Like
free-
absolutely free, no charge.
no charge.
Uh-huh.
There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer,
Wait, phone? You can just pull out your phone
and edit your podcast right from it. And
That's
record it.
wild. That's absolutely wild. What else does it do?
Well, you can distribute your podcast, or Anchor will distribute your podcast for you.
Where?
So it can be heard on Spotify,
Spotify?
Apple Podcasts,
Apple Podcasts?
and anywhere else. Many more.
Wait, so like Google Podcasts and all of those, you can hear it using
yeah.
Anchor? Oh my, really? What else do they do?
You can make money from your own podcast with no minimum listenership.
No minimum listenership? Are you
Yeah,
kidding me?
man.
You can just make money from making a podcast? I
Yeah,
didn't know
man.
you could do that.
It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
Wait, so you're telling me that if our listeners want to make a podcast, all they have to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm and get started and make their own podcast?
Yes, that's all they have to do is
That's all they have to
download
do?
the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
That's absolutely wild. What a great steal.
What a great steal.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that lovely ad break. Actually, now that I'm
we
talking about
record a
this,
new one that's
I need to-
different
I was
every
gonna say, I
time.
need to actually turn Tyson down so it's not picking up on our microphones.
Oopsie.
Oopsie, stinky.
Oopsie daisies.
So we have a very odd topic, not a particularly legal topic.
A trippy one.
Yeah, it's a pretty weird
trippy-
one.
A trippy time. We're gonna talk about psychedelics
Yeah.
and just experience with psychedelics.
I mean, me and our guest here, just to put
Yeah,
it
I guess we should.
context.
I guess we should explain our roles.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'll explain my
Yeah.
first. I'm the babysitter. So I just make sure everyone stays safe. That is,
Part-time nanny over here.
yep. I'm a part-time nanny. I don't get paid. It's volunteer work. But I just make sure that everyone gets home, not get home, but stays safe in the whole experience. Really.
But just to give some context, me and Tyson have been friends for probably 6 years now,
Since you were in the womb,
If
and
not
I
longer.
believe you guys came
Yeah.
from the same sperm donor shop.
Yeah, we were actually attached at birth. Actually,
Yeah,
Yeah,
they-
I gave him my kidney in 5th grade.
Yeah, pulled out the
Yeah.
catalog, flipped through. Oh, I like this guy.
But we've been friends for years and everything, and we've had some psychedelic experiences together. And I don't know.
They just punched each other in the head really hard and just hallucinated. That's kind of what he's getting at.
yeah, we just drank whatever we could find under the sink until we started seeing stuff. I don't know if they call that psychedelic, but
Yeah,
Get a
we're
little
doing bath salts. But not like the
Yeah,
drug.
You got those
Not-
under your sink? Wait a
just-
second.
Just not no actual bath salts, not the drug.
No, I'm saying you got those under your sink?
well,
In the
sink,
bathroom?
Well, okay.
yeah. We went
I
to
was
every
thinking,
sink.
You thinking
I was-
kitchen sink?
yeah,
weren't
I was
ya?
thinking kitchen. I was like, dude, you giving your fucking cats like a bath. Like, you giving them the fancy treatment. You putting bath bombs in the sink? Damn.
You putting some Epsom salt in there?
Dude, relaxing your cat's muscles? And
Real
when,
quick tangent. What if you had a baby and you dropped your baby in the water and it dissolved like a bath bomb? Would you tell anyone?
you know, you know what video that reminds me of? There's
Reminds
this-
me of those cakes that like look super realistic of like a baby, and then they
No,
cut
there's this
into
one.
them.
There was this one
They
video.
cut
It was like
into it.
it was like this Japanese zoo that had like raccoons, and they gave these raccoons cotton candy. And like raccoons are very sanitary animals, so literally it was this
Okay.
one raccoon that ran up to this little watering hole with his cotton candy. He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna wash this to make sure it's safe to eat." And of course, as soon as he puts that cotton candy in the water, it just disappears. And he's looking at his hands like he's just a mass murderer. And he's just like he just reaches through the water. And he's just like, "Oh God, what have I done?
Oh my God.
Can I save this somehow?" And so that's what I imagine in my head when you think about like a baby turning into a bath bomb.
Going back to our topic, though, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't really know where to start. Tyson, would you know where to start? Like we've had a couple.
I mean, I can tell my stories just to like get you guys in the mood.
If you want to, yeah.
Yeah, let's
Uh,
go ahead.
So all I remember about these experiences, of course, being the babysitter, did not mean I was sober. Of course, I
You just weren't partaking in the psychedelics.
yeah, I might have had a few drinks in my belly, but I was still I was more sober than the average bear. All I remember is at the very beginning of the night whenever like everyone was just running around like cavemen, just screaming and yelling. All I remember is that Fish found this pair of like science goggles, like these
They were
lab goggles.
Tyson's.
Oh, were they
Tyson's.
Tyson?
Fine, they're from chemistry class.
So all I remember is that I saw like Fisher running around in those, and the next
I
thing
had my Heelys on. And
yeah,
I
he
had,
was just like
Yeah.
skating
Okay.
around.
Let me give some context. So
Yeah, I need to know what's
So
going on in your brain.
I thought it would be funny. I thought it would be funny if I grabbed the goggles, had my Heelys, and because we go to a film school, our roommate at the time had like 2 prop guns, and I started running around, and I said I was Tracer.
That's what you were going for.
Tyson
Yeah, that's how
remembers
I
me saying
remember it.
that.
That's how I
Oh,
remember it. He would roll by like Tracer. He'd look at you holding the guns, and then he would just burst out into laughing.
No, but all I
God, it
remember
was so funny.
all,
I thought it was
all I
hilarious.
remember
Super
is
funny.
I heard
Hilarious.
I heard like Fish yell. So I was in my room and I walked outside and like the next thing I see is Fisher just slamming his own thumb into a door frame.
Oh yeah,
Or like into a door. Like he was closing a door onto his thumb and he just opened the door and he just looked up at me and I was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I just slammed my thumb in the door and I was wondering if it actually hurt or not, so I wanted to do it again." And like
I actually don't remember that at all.
I just remember
I actually don't
I
remember
remember
that at
looking
all.
into this man's eyes and all it was pupils. Like there was no like iris, there was no color to his eyes. It was just a white and then black. And he was
Black
just,
void.
and like his face was just completely pale and he was just staring at his thumb and he was just like, "I just need to know if it would hurt or not." That-
Probably throbbing. You could see the pulse in it.
oh
Probably.
no, yeah, no. His thumb was just blood red and he
It was red. I don't know what my thought process was there.
Yeah, no.
I actually don't remember that at all. But I'll say this: what we took shrooms.
Yeah.
Being honest,
the classic
Magic
the
mushrooms.
earthly
Like,
psychedelic.
me and
Literally both of my
Tyson
stories
split-
are from that night.
Me and Tyson split like an eighth of mushrooms, which is normally a
Full
An
person dolls.
that's a
Dose.
1-person dose, and we split that between each other. And I remember there's a party going across on our other apartment,
Yeah.
like across
This
the
is like
hall.
reveal all secrets, dirty tales of our college in a sense.
That's what I'm saying.
These are the things that went down
happens
after
at art
dark.
school.
Well, I mean, it's not
this
gonna.
is art school gone wild.
Well, it's not gonna be here anymore, so we can say it.
R.I.P.
Oh my god.
No, but across the hall there was a party going on, so we go. Me and Ty. Well, all of us go there.
Yeah, I was sitting
And-
on the couch too. I
All
remember
three of
this
us
whole
were there.
interaction.
And me and Ty, I'm sitting on this chair, like it's a one-person chair, and Tyson's sitting on the arm of the chair. And our buddy comes up and talks to us, and he knew that we were taking shrooms, and he goes, "Hey, buddy, hey, how long was it?
Hey, buckaroos.
Hey, bud, how long has it been since you've since you ate the shrooms?" And we were like, "Oh, it's been about 30 minutes or so." And he went up to me and Tyson, and he just put his hand on our shoulders. Said, "Oh, it should kick in about now, or it should be kicking in around now." And as soon as his hand touched our shoulders, I think Tyson can agree with me that the second he touched our shoulders was the second it kicked in.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, as soon as
What,
he finished his sentence.
what's weird about that statement is that later on the night before you guys had like talked about it, because you guys didn't have that revelation till the morning that you guys had the exact same experience.
Yeah.
What was weird about that night
Mhm.
was that literally at different occasions, like without being in each other's presence, you both came up to me and told me that exact story.
And
then that-
I remember looking at Fisher as soon as that happened, and like both of us knew what was happening. We were both like, "Yeah,
It's here.
It's begun.
No,
the
the
party has started."
the second story from that same night was like later on, like maybe 6-7 hours later.
I would say probably about
maybe
2
it
or
was-
3.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like maybe 3 or 4 because 6 or 7 is about where the
Give a little
kinda-
bit more context to this again, that we remember we're film students. So our roommate at the time had some film lights and some gels.
yeah.
So
So, we
he
lit up our whole like living room in like different colors and stuff like that, just to like
purple and pink,
to give more like
vaporwave playing.
yeah to basically just give something to look at for all of our friends that were participating in said psychedelics. And all I remember is that we had this like love seat in the corner, and Fish was sitting in it for the longest of times, just staring at a ceiling fan that was spinning. Because you were
I
just
guess
having,
I was just
you were-
mesmerized by how it looked, and
yeah,
like,
no, you were
I
having a
think what it-
ball just watching the shadows like play on the ceiling.
exactly.
Basically,
That's what I was about to say. It was like it wasn't necessarily the ceiling fan, but like the way the shadows were clipping.
Yeah. No, but all I remember is that like after you had been staring for about probably 35 to 45 minutes, you just kind of slid out of the chair into the middle of the floor where you were just staring directly up into the center of the ceiling fan. Like you were just in the middle of our living room just staring straight up. And of course, I had been standing this whole time because all of the chairs had been taken because we just had so many people in our dorm. And so I remember I saw you get out and I was like, oh, here's my chance. So I gave it like 5-10 minutes because I was like, okay, if he doesn't go back soon, I know I'm able to go over there. So I waited, and you were just sitting there just staring at the ceiling fan, just having a grand old time. And I was like, okay, it's my time to go steal the chair. So I start walking, and I swear you don't even ever look at me. You just sense my presence. And you go into a fucking crab walk. And you just like backwards.
It was like I just re-won how I like slid out of the chair.
Yeah, no, you just backwards crab walked back into the chair into like a fetal position. You just stared at me with like deadly eyes, and you were like, "It's mine." You just straight up like claimed it. You were like, "My chair. You cannot have it. It is claimed in the name of Fish."
The things I remember from that night are we went into this. I'm only
He
gonna
doesn't
say
remember.
I'm only gonna say the first name, of course, but the legend of the school, Kevin.
Yeah,
We were in Kevin's room,
the legend of Kevin.
and we were sitting there chilling with him, talking about some crazy shit. And I was wearing Heelys, and I look down, and I just feel something at my foot, and it's just Tyson, like patting the wheel, just like hitting it, just spinning the wheel, mesmerized at it.
I mean, the
That
only
thing was going through my brain. That was just like a forced action. I was just
the only
like,
other major thing I
everything
remember.
was happening around me.
I remember from that night was that something that you told me later because we were all just chilling out in a room just drinking, and later on you told me that like there were 2 people in the room like two people that, well, one of them still goes here, but the other one doesn't. That both were just convinced that I was like famous.
Oh yeah.
And like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I just been like lying to everyone about how like famous I was, and I was just trying to act like a normal kid when I was like this like this prestigious celebrity online.
YouTuber.
Yeah, I was like a famous YouTuber online, and like they couldn't find my channel. They're like,
It
I
was so
think he's
funny.
lying.
And then I remember one point just like losing Tyson for a good bit, like
Oh,
not
no, I
knowing
remember
where
that.
Tyson
Yeah.
was.
Multiple
No,
times.
both you guys just randomly throughout that entire night just disappeared for
then-
probably an hour and then just reappeared, thinking it was the next day.
And then and then another memory is from that night is like sitting around our smokers like where our smoker area, because I was smoking a cigarette, and then our friend Nico, like I start walking off and Tyson comes with me and Nico comes with us, and I just remember like he starts like throwing like his fake, you know how Nico is.
Yeah,
He starts
throwing his fake punches.
Yeah, he starts throwing his fake punches, and it's getting like in inches away from like Tyson's face, and I'm like flipping out, like he's gonna hit him, he's gonna hit him.
Oh,
I had just met Nico too that night, I think. I think that was the
yeah,
first night I
true.
met
That
Nico.
was probably around the first time that like he had been, because that was
Yeah,
the
that was-
first time we had all like
Yeah.
partied together.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, wild times. I feel like
Fine.
I've been talking about my memories, and then Fish has been coming in here, be like, I think this is what happened. Tyson.
well,
Yeah.
before we give it out to Tyson, it's just a good branching point because it's a point for me and him. One of my favorite moments, and I don't remember anything that we said, but
Oh,
me and him sat in his car for a good, like, I feel like it was like 2 hours, and just sat and talked, and that was one of my favorite moments of like that whole experience. But yeah,
it's recorded somewhere. It's
yeah,
recorded.
yeah,
it's
I-
on
somewhere.
it's on some audio file somewhere because we decided to record it. I don't know
I'm
where
just wondering
it
if that
is.
got backed up before like getting deleted,
Formatted
just to, to
somewhere.
clean up and all that stuff.
Probably.
Who knows? We have so many of those like just recordings that we've just done.
and
that we
have
just
no
never-
idea.
Yeah, I had no clue whatever happened to it. We're just like, oh yeah, I remember recording this, but it's like from 2 years ago, and who knows where it's hidden because we never kept anything organized.
You're right. You're right.
But yeah, let's throw this over to Tyson. I would love to hear, because
Okay,
I
okay.
always
I know,
I
I-
always hear stories from you, and I always have my recollection of events, but I rarely ever hear stories from others.
Me and him have recently talked about this. I think at least like in the past few weeks
Yeah.
of us hanging out. And tell us about the Evil Dead.
What?
'Cause I
Okay,
wanna-
I'll get there. I'll get there.
I got a few tales before I
First-
can reach the epic conclusion of my saga.
That's one of the best points of the night, though, honestly. But first off, if you've never done a psychedelic, it's really hard to imagine it. It's just so off the wall. And
Oh, yeah.
crazy, but everything just seems, you can find the beauty in everything when you're on one, and like a little speck of dirt you can find some beauty in it.
You can,
Oh, yeah.
you
I
can
just
figure
remember
out like
the majority of the night, like I was just staring at stuff. Like for instance, Fisher's Heelys. And I'm just spinning them, and I'm like, "Wow, this is crazy! This is so cool." There's a wheel on a shoe. What?
Does that make any
And,
sense?
like, so much is just happening around me, and then I'm just like staring off this space, and I'm hanging out with everyone, and then I don't even realize that I'm actually hanging out with no one I know. All my friends have already walked off and gone somewhere else.
Oh,
and I'm
yeah,
just
I
sitting
remember
here with
that.
Random people I don't know, listening to their stories. They're talking. I'm like sitting here like we're best friends. I'm listening to them. I'm like, okay, yeah. And I'm not saying a word. I'm just listening. I'm just with random people. And then someone comes up and goes, Tyson, hey, come on, we're leaving. I'm like, oh, cool, I'm coming.
Yeah, no, that was like the first time we lost you, and then
I do remember
And then
that.
someone was like, "Wait, is he still back
First of
there?"
many.
Yeah, and then finally we sent someone to go get you, and then you came back and you were like, "I had no clue what's going on."
I remember though, there was one point where we'd come down a little bit. It'd been a while throughout the night. Me and Fisher, we drove to a gas station,
oh yeah.
and that was a crazy adventure. Not just like even like going to the gas station, but just like I remember. I don't remember what we talked about, but we talked to the cashier for like a good 5 minutes or something, and then we walked out.
See,
And
I
then
don't
there's
remember
just,
you
like,
guys
the
ever
home
leaving
was
to go
we
to a
talked
gas
about.
station.
Oh yeah, no, this was like right before. I feel
It was like
we
6 in the morning, 5 in the morning.
yeah, it was like pretty early in the
Oh
morning.
yeah, because I do remember that I finally went to bed around maybe 4 or 5. Like I tried my best to stay up with you because I wanted to make sure that you guys were like out of your high before I like left.
Yeah.
But I
And
was
we-
like,
and just to
We
be
didn't get into shenanigans.
just to state this, take a psychedelic. Don't ever get out and drive. One-
Please be
disclaimer:
safe.
stay safe.
When
Don't be dumb like these two fucks.
when we were, I felt, because I was the one that drove. I felt like I wasn't tripping anymore at all. I was just felt like more groggy than
Well, that was
anything.
also the thing that we talked about and we discussed before this whole like situation happened because we were just trying to like mentally prepare for what was going to happen.
Mhm.
Something that we really discussed was just the difference of like how long the high lasts when it comes to acid versus shrooms.
Oh yeah,
So acid lasting
Mhm.
around 12 hours, whereas shrooms last about half the time, between 5 to 7 hours.
exactly.
So at that point, yeah, the high was definitely over and you had come down.
but it's still with that, like during that same night, I wouldn't advise doing that.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not.
Just to be safe. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, you want to give yourself like a full like 12 to 24 hour like recovery period.
Oh yeah, no, I
Type thing.
completely agree.
Like if
with
you
that.
live in a big city, just order in food for delivery. Don't
Yeah.
even think about it. In all honesty, don't make plans the next day that make you have to like drive on the streets. Like this is
Don't do drugs, but
Don't-
if you're gonna do drugs,
stay
do
safe.
them in a room where you're safe.
Yeah, lock the
Don't
door.
leave.
Literally lock yourself in a room. Throw the
Don't-
key under the door so you can't get out.
Turn the lights out.
Make
turn
sure you
all senses off.
tape a bunch of knives to the walls.
acid proof the house like in Workaholics.
Program your computer so that it randomly screams at you in 30-minute
Oh my
intervals.
God.
Just
Like
general stuff to
set an
keep yourself
alarm to-
safe.
Set an alarm to scream red rum at you in 1 hour.
Dude,
Here I
Ty-
come, Constantinople.
Oh my God.
Tyson,
That's
please,
another story for another
please
time.
tell me about Evil Dead. I want to
Let's
know
talk about
now.
Evil Dead. So
We
I didn't
we're
even
only
know.
talking about one night. I feel like we can't get into any other experiences, but let's end off with the Evil Dead.
We can move on. We can say a little bit of something.
No.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah,
stick
because
with
I
this
feel like
night.
we kind of hit everything that happened on the mushroom night.
Oh yeah.
It's time to go into the big
Yeah.
boy toys.
Well,
We've
let's
done one up.
hear about the Evil Dead because that was the same night.
Yeah, let's talk about the bad dragon dildo night.
Yeah, let's leave that one for later. Evil Dead, though. I think it was Evil Dead 2. We were. There's
Oh,
a
I
bunch
thought
of
you guys
people
were
in the
talking about the
room.
reboot for a second. I was like, that
No.
would be a shitstorm
No.
to watch on psychedelics. You would literally lose your mind to watch that.
That would scare me. I would probably run away.
I would break my TV. I'd throw something at it to try and kill
I'd headbutt
the
it.
kill the evil spirits.
This was enough, though. Honestly, like everyone was watching Evil Dead 2 in the living room, and I remember we moved into the living room. We were sitting around, and everyone's kind of talking, but I'm just like mesmerized by this movie. And it's at the scene where Ash is like losing his mind, and he's just like laughing, and like
I
the
feel like that
demon is
happens
like
in every.
laughing, and like all the room around him and everything is starting to melt and change.
Oh no,
and
this is
everything
Evil Dead
going
1
crazy.
because like that's when all the deer heads start
Oh,
like
is it?
facing him and laughing at him as well.
Yes,
unless they do that-
yes.
Unless they do that exact same scene in every single Evil Dead movie, but no, in Evil Dead 1,
It might have been one,
which is
then.
why like that was the
Okay.
main reason I wanted you to watch that was for that scene specifically, where like everything just starts like melting off the walls and the
Did you
taxidermy.
choose that movie that night?
No.
That was your choice? Oh, okay. I was about to say that would have been bravo for you.
Was this
I just
was this
remembered- I
after
remember
my
that scene vividly.
was this after my recommendation though, or was this before?
I had probably before.
Okay.
I wasn't here for
Probably
this.
before.
Oh, okay.
I think this was
I might have been.
I don't know if
I
you
might
only
have been
said
in
the
the
name
room,
or
but I
not.
wasn't paying attention to the movie.
Well, yeah, as you do.
It was one of your roommates' movies. I'm pretty sure he was putting on, but we were over there. This was after the Healy's incident, after Chayton getting recognized being famous. Anyway, everyone oblivious to me. I didn't know, of course, because I never knew this whole night. Everyone already left. Everyone went outside to go smoke a cigarette. I was in the
Except-
room with one other guy,
Our roommate.
just me and y'all's roommate. Yeah, and I look over to. I realize everyone left. I was like, oh, everyone's gone. And I look over to him. he looks so mad. He looks livid. He looks like his legs shaking, like restless leg syndrome. He looks like he's about to destroy something in my eyes. I'm scared, not of the movie. I'm scared of him. I think he's mad at me. I think I did something. And I'm just like staring at the TV, watching it, like all these deer heads laugh at Ash. I am freaking out. I don't know what to do. I can't get up and leave though. Like this whole situation has me stunned. Like I'm shell shocked right now. And then like it goes to the scene where Ash like turns and shoots the wall, and he shoots the demon, and all the room starts melting. And I feel like a breath of relief come over me. I'm like, oh my god, okay, I can leave now that crazy scene ended. Thank God. Fisher pops his head in though, and he looks so out of it. He says, "Tyson." He waves me on. And I grab him by the shoulder, and we heely off to the smokers table.
Oh my god! And with that being said, I think that's a very nice little button on the end of all this on this whole situation.
Oh yeah.
No,
Quite the adventure.
quite the adventure, and there are many of those adventures that we could honestly probably dive deep into.
Oh
if
yeah.
we
we'll-
ever got any more of our friends on.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
We
we
can
can-
grab.
Oh yeah,
We can talk about a plethora of odd, crazy experiences that we've had over the years. Definitely.
Yeah, we'll have to get me and Eli on here one time.
Oh,
to talk
dude, that would be a
about,
clusterfuck.
You,
We
Eli,
can't
and
do
our
that.
friend
the
Hayden for
Holy
that.
Mountain.
Oh yeah.
God. No, but thank you guys so much for listening to the MindMesh podcast. If you would like to hear some more of us, you can check us out on your favorite podcast platforms every Monday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, or on the MindMesh YouTube channel on YouTube 2 days later at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. But with that being said, thank you for delving into the shower thoughts and the weird experiences of MindMesh. My name's Chayton.
I'm Fish, and thank you, Tyson, for coming and joining us.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for everyone for listening.
Oh, you are so kind. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.